hang on to your seat, baby, cause this one's a screamer.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
On Entertainment So Time, come to y'all with another video, and we're talking the Michael Jackson movie. So I was able to check it out over the weekend, so I'm here to give my thoughts about it: the acting, the characters, the plot, how long the movie was, all that. Before I get started, one of my favorite songs of Michael Jackson is Human Nature. The reaching out across the ocean, that is the babe reaching out. Okay, I feel like first let's start off with the length. The length of the movie to me was very small. If we're going to be honest, the length was very small compared to what I expected. Like the life that Michael has lived, I feel like it deserved a 4-part movie, much like the one they did years ago on the Jacksons. But I will say though that it's giving cliffhanger. It's given that we're gonna get a Michael 2 or a Michael Forever or a Michael One Last Dance or something like that. That's what it gave to me by the end of the video, by the end of the movie. And I also feel like the movie made me sad. It made me really sad because if you experience anything close to what Michael has experienced, you will get why he ended up the way that he was. And we're going to talk about it, okay? First, let's start off with the acting. First, we're going to start off with Jafar Jackson. When I tell y'all, he looked like Michael so much. And what I like the most is, y'all know I love me some impersonations. I could do a lot of people's voices. That's a good talent of mine. My goal is to be a voice actor. Hello. He had his voice down pat. Like down pat. Yeah, you know, that's what I like to do. Yeah. Like that whole softness, it was like even the strain. Because Michael, when he would talk, he would have a light strain to his voice. He even got that down pat. Like he did so well in that movie. And like I was just utterly surprised because I expected him not to be as talented as he was. I just didn't think he was going to do as good as he did. I really didn't, because we had a lot of people that applied for this role. I know many people that applied for this role, y'all. I ain't applied for the role, if y'all was wondering. But there was a lot of people that I know that went out for this role. They got them a good Jerry curl wig, and they gave their best. Hey, make a bubble stop. You know, they gave the whole voice and all that, and they didn't get the damn role. But he did, and I feel like he did amazing. He, to me, captured truly the essence of Michael with the voice, the look, and the acting, the innocence of Michael. And I think that's what made him do so well in this role, because he captured the innocence of it. Because Michael was such a person to where he was so talented that he wasn't like the rest. So the way that he portrayed that within that role, I feel like really captured who Michael was as a person. So for that, he gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Like Jafar really did his big one. I was just shocked because you hear such rave reviews of the movie and how the person did and all of that, that you go into it with already some thoughts about, you know, how well they did. Now let's talk about young Michael. Okay, young Michael, another one. Julie, and I'm giving them their credit. That's why I'm putting it on the screen. The young Michael, his name was Giuliano Valdi. I know his parents were watching that movie like, that's my son, because the way that he killed that so hard, like, oh my god, oh my god. To me, it was Jafar was number 1, and the young Michael was number 2. Not the one where he turned 10. I'm talking about the young Michael and him. He was number 2. He was right next to, right under Jafar, Giuliano, with how well he acted by the dancing, the singing, like, man, like he really did his big one. He really did his big one. I really liked how he portrayed it, and he really did look like him. That afro that he was given, he really did look like him 100%. Okay. So another person that I feel like captured the essence of the character was the the father Joe, aka Coleman. Okay, Coleman to me though, you could play two roles with that wig you had on. Coleman could play Rick James, bitch. It's Rick James, bitch. The way he had that wig, I said it gave a little bit of Rick James, just a little bit. You couldn't tell me nothing different, okay? All he had to do was go super freaky. Cause some parts of the movie, I was like always giving Joe by the way he was acting, by the way he was looking, but then there was a couple of parts he was still acting like Joe, but I'm like, so Rick James was Michael Jackson daddy? Like it was just a little bit. I was like, you know what I'm saying? But I really feel like he did a great job. In the movie, of course, we're gonna get into more detail in a little bit, but I just wanted to go character by character about how I feel the actors and actresses did. I feel like he did amazing as well because he captured how Joe was selfish and how he wanted Michael to continue doing the Jackson 5, even though he did not want to and wanted to pursue that solo career. He wanted to be the Beyonce before there was a Beyonce. Okay. Now I see Nicole Scherzinger where you got your inspiration from, babes. Because they really, if we're gonna be honest, like although the rest of Jackson 5 sung, Michael was really pushed out to be the star, if we're gonna be honest, especially with how the movie portrayed it. Now, somebody I feel like didn't do their big one was the woman who played Latoya. Sorry to put you on blast, but I'm just keeping it a buck. She doesn't have an IMDb picture, but she goes by the name of Amaya. I didn't like her. I don't care what nobody says. She did not have Latoya's voice. I don't even think she much even looked similar to her. That's just my opinion. Latoya's voice is very light. It's very dainty. Okay? You know, me and Michael, we would hang out all the time. It's very soft. Why are you talking as deep as I am right now? Like, she was like, I'm like, wait, who the hell is that? Like, that blew me. I'm like, who can, like, I'm not saying, because I feel like if you get a role, it was meant for you, right? God gave that for you. But that didn't give Latoya to me. Like, Latoya to me is a lot more timid as a person. She's a very shy girl. She's not, you feel me? Like, she's like low-key a white woman. Like, she really is. So, I don't know. Like, I just feel like that actress could have did a lot better, in my opinion. Now, one of the roles that to me was a big key, although she wasn't a big role, was Gladys Knight, played by Liv Simone. The moment she was on that stage with that wig, I said, "Oh my God, is that supposed to be Gladys Knight?" And then she came off stage. She like, "Look at you, you so cute," and she nudges her like that in itself was hilarious. Like, there's just some tidbits of that movie. Like, you got to pay attention to it because it goes by so quick that have me cracking up. Nia Long did amazing as Katherine Jackson because Katherine Jackson to me was like a little bit of a battered woman, to be honest. They didn't display that in the movie, but you can tell it was heavily insinuated due to how intimidated as she was by Joe Jackson. So I'm glad that they were able to portray that in some sort of way. Although it may not have been physical, you can tell it was a lot of verbal intimidation by that. Okay. Now I know I'm missing some of the couple actors and actresses, but those are the ones that really stuck out to me like throughout the movie. So there's that. All right, so just the movie in general, right? So of course it's depicting the life of Michael, but it stops right as he hits like one of his main peaks in his career. And of course, Jafar, which is a part of the Jackson family, is playing him. So it starts off with them growing up in Gary, Indiana, and then it displays like Joe being really strict on the kids, mostly Michael, because Michael would speak up like a little bit while he was young, and he would pay the consequences. He got beat with a belt like a few times throughout the movie. Even as an adult, you could tell he was very intimidated by Joe. Okay. And even as a child, you could tell he was carrying a lot of pressure throughout the movie because the family relied on him financially to make it because he really was the Beyonce out of the group. Okay. So then they kind of leer into him going into the solo route, although he was still with Jackson 5. So they portrayed that to where he would still be doing the Jackson 5 and then started working on his solo album, which his solo album started to take off. Now, I will say some of the imagery, that's another part that I feel like they nailed. When they did the Off the Wall album cover, that album cover, down, 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 down. They ate that down. That looked very similar. And that's why, to me, Jafar was the perfect person that they picked, because he really does look like Michael Jackson. He's a Jackson, though. So it's like, it only would make sense to pick him for that role, if we're going to be honest. All right. And then what's crazy? If they do a follow-up to it, y'all think they're gonna keep Jafar, they're gonna switch the actor. Because the later part of his career is like when he turned completely white, and he had like the long hair and became frail with the butt chin. Like, when are we gonna get that? Like, do you think Jafar is able to do that? Because I feel like they would have to change the actor, if we're gonna be honest. Because even if they were to do prosthetics and all of that, it still would look maybe funny, because then you're adding things to make him look like Michael versus him looking like Michael, which Jafar, you could tell they didn't have to do a lot to have him look like Michael, because he already has the family features. They just maybe had to adjust something here and there, his eyes or something, but it wasn't a lot of adjustments done. The older Michael, it's going to take a lot of adjustments for him to look like exactly like him. So for that follow-up movie, which I think they're going to do, what is it giving? You know what I'm saying? So they go through the albums. They do the Off the Wall. They do the Thriller. They do the Bad Era. They even show a part where they had like bad gang violence and everything like that throughout the movie. And he would kind of stepped in. What I want to go back to when he was younger, the dad whooping him, and then he called him Big Nose. This is why parents, y'all need to watch what y'all say to y'all kid, because a lot of us as Black kids, our first bully was our parents, much like Michael. So I could relate to him very much that, because I used to get made fun of for like my big lips and stuff like that. Like, that was something that like I was poked fun of when I was little. I ain't gonna say by who, but that was something that like, thank God I was strong mentally to where like I'm not insecure about my lips. But that was something I remember always like poked fun at me or like talk crap about me when I was do something bad, was like my lips. So it's just like stuff like that. That's why the movie, it low-key made me sad in the theater, because I'm like, damn, bitch. Like, it low-key felt a little therapeutic. If you've ever experienced anything throughout that movie that Michael did. You get what I'm saying? So that is lesson in itself, because a lot of people probably didn't even know that if they didn't watch the movie or didn't know Jackson history. Because I knew that he was insecure about his nose, because one, the industry, and then his dad. Because the industry at that time was very anti-Black, and they wanted you to be racially ambiguous or white. So that contributed to a lot of him eventually getting the nose job. So it did show him going and getting his nose done, which his dad, piece of crap, looked at him in shock, knowing damn well he was making fun of him and his nose. Okay. Now it showed him trying to veer into the solo scene, and him sort of getting lonely. His family not really kind of understanding him anymore, and then him having a love for animals. They did end up showing Bubbles. We saw Bubbles throughout the whole movie, which I think they used CGI, of course, because who the hell, they was not going to risk no trained monkey attacking Jafar's face. You know how much of a horror that would be? Imagine they hired a trained monkey, and the monkey just go on and just like and just attack him, and now the movie scrapped because now his face is scarred. You get what I'm saying? So that gave CGI. That was cute though, to see his relationship with Bubbles, and it kind of explained the fact that that's the reason why Michael was so dependent on animals, because he felt like humans couldn't understand him, which we all knew that. That's a major part of why he ended up building Neverland, because the animals and all of that stuff, right? So, which they kind of always insinuated that throughout the movie, because he had like this book, and it showed his love for animations and kid stuff through like the Peter Pan and all of that stuff, right? So when people would try to portray this whole, because here's the thing, it gets tricky with Michael, because you could feel so sympathetic with him and be like, he never experienced life as a kid, and that's why he was into the kid-like stuff. Or there's the other side of the coin where people could be like, he's a grown man. It comes to a point where you got to stop being into the kid stuff. And that's why people started attaching, besides the accusations, the pedophilia stuff to his name because of him being so into like the kid friendly type of stuff. And that made him look a little suspect. So it's really a two sides of the coin, and it depends on who you are as a person and how you see it. Do I believe the accusations? I don't believe all of them. Do I think maybe something may have occurred? Maybe. I feel like a maybe, not a yes or no. None of us could say distinctively yes or no, except for the people that were in that room and Michael and God. So that's just how I feel about that. But I do feel like a lot of his childhood and him being pressured into being the responsible adult, family, financial provider is as to why he attached himself to some childhood stuff, because he never had a chance to be a child. And that's something they portrayed a lot in the movie because of the pressure that was put on him. One thing I noticed with the movie, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but Quincy and Michael's scenes, they were very homoerotic. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a punk. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were very homoerotic. The way he looked at him, I don't know if it's because I'm diluted in the brain and I think like that, but I'm like, wait, what's going on here? He's like, Michael, you gonna do me that, a little different? All right, cool. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what's going on here? Flag on the play. We skipped that chapter. Like, even people in the movie theaters was like, oh, like you could hear, the girls, in the theater, they're like, like they making noises and sounds and stuff. They like, you know what I'm saying? Like you could kind of hear the uncomfortableness with like some of the stuff, because it's like it gave homoerotic to me. I don't care. Like it gave homoerotic. No shade. Like it did. Plus Quincy, the person who played Quincy was fine already. So that in itself, his name is Kendrick Sampson. That is who played Quincy, y'all. No. Let me show y'all what he looking like. For y'all that haven't seen the movie yet. Okay. But yeah, that's something that pointed out to me that I was like, I thought that was very, very, very like, it was a little strange. Okay. So at one point of the movie, we end up seeing him fight between wanting to stay in the Jackson 5 because his dad keeps pressuring him into doing so, and or going off and doing his solo career and leaving the Jackson 5 behind. I don't care what nobody says. Joe is low-key to blame for him getting burned in the head. Because had he quit around that time, for y'all that watched the movie, at one point he was about to quit. He was about to quit completely and be done with it. Joe said, no, oh, okay, it's already done. You're going to do this for your family, boo, blah, blah, walked away. So forced him into doing and going back on tour, which then forced them to participate in that commercial for promo for the tour and just them as still a band that's still together. Had that not happened, he walked away. I can guarantee he would not have been on that set. Period, point blank. Now I know y'all gonna say no, but the commercial was really to promote Jackson. But no, to me, like I just feel like certain things happen for a certain reason. Had he like said no to the dad and said no, I'm not doing no, stay to the status quo. If you wanna, you feel me? If he did his no moment, I feel like that wouldn't have happened. But nonetheless, it did happen. He ended up suing Pepsi. Pepsi, they ended up getting a deal. They gave the money to the Burn Center, which showed his generosity. If y'all don't know, Pepsi and Michael actually worked together again for another promotional tour, and they gave him like way more than they gave him during the settlement. Child, they better than me. I wouldn't have worked with them up again. Y'all burn my scalp down to the ground. Oh, the way they portrayed it in the movie was so nasty. It was like you seen the baldness in the middle and all that. Child, he looked like me before I got the transplant. It was like really bad. Like, Catherine, they portrayed her being very upset at Joe about this because I feel like internally she blamed him for that. Although I feel like it's really on Pepsi. It also falls a little bit to me on Joe. Okay. All right. And then a lot of the movie, it portrayed the performances, how the fandom viewed them, him getting the surgery, and then also the pressure. And he finally, at one of the last Jackson 5 shows, says, I'm going solo, which the dad, Joe, was very upset at him. I thought Joe was going to hit him in the back of the stage. I said, oh my God, he put a head off. He put a head off. Because if y'all don't know, Michael Jackson got by like 3 nose jobs. He got his third rhinoplasty after the incident with the hair situation. So I'm thinking maybe the third one was due to Joe knocking him out, but he didn't hit him, at least from the movie portrayed. Okay. And it kind of ended off of like that last bit of him, finally deciding and going on his own solo and all of that. And it cut there. By the time I look up, the movie was done. I was so disappointed. I'm like, this is so short. Now, somebody who was notably absent from the movie was Janet Jackson. Of course, she did not approve for her image and likeness to be used on the movie. But y'all could have at least said, where's your sister? She's at school camp, something. They didn't do none of that. You would have thought Janet never existed. I feel like Janet not being in the movie is what made LaToya's role not as big. Thank God, because no shade, the actress wouldn't have been able to do more scenes as LaToya with that deep voice. Child, if you don't, hey, Michael, Michael, what are you doing, Michael? Do one of those, I know something. Ain't even that hard, babe. And I'm a nigga. So your voice should be way lighter than mine. Like, I just couldn't believe it. I said, what the hell? At first, I thought it was like a cousin or something. And then they said LaToya. I'm like, LaToya? But I feel like to me, the movie, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. Only I took out one point because I feel like it could have been longer. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they didn't show the negative side of him and the molestation accusations. Well, they ended off on the year right before. So, like, chill out, y'all. They can't put out no 4-hour movies down in theaters nowadays. The budget not budgeting the way Hollywood used to back then. So stay tuned for part 2 is what it's looking like. And that's what Coleman kind of teased in an interview as well. But I feel like Jafar did an amazing job. And I don't feel like anybody else could have did the role better than he could, to be honest. And I do feel like the movie portrayed all that they could have portrayed with what they had to work with. Janet did not agree, so they couldn't do anything with that. And also, I feel like certain people were not able to give their input on what happened because they're not alive, such as Joe. He's not alive. So there may be some things that happened that we don't know if that was not portrayed because some members of the family are not alive, including Michael himself. Okay. Let me know what y'all think about that movie. If you guys did see the Michael movie, let me know y'all thoughts down below about it. If y'all haven't seen it yet, when y'all gonna see it? And